Before the first trailer for this movie was even released, I had zero faith in the project. If you paid attention to any of the behind the scenes stuff, they've actually been trying to make this since 2008, and I can't even keep track of all the people who have been attached and left the project. So the fact that it's even coming out is a miracle. And yeah, after watching the trailer, I gotta admit, I thought it was a little better than I was expecting, and going in, I knew this was either gonna be surprisingly good or really, really awful. Before we get into my thoughts, The Crow is based on a comic series of the same name, and while this isn't the first movie based on the material, it's not considered a remake, but rather another adaptation of the source material. The film follows Eric, a man with a troubled past who meets and falls in love with a fellow patient, Shelley. Unfortunately, Shelley is in danger due to her possessing an incriminating tape of a powerful person, and when tragedy strikes, Eric takes on the mantle of the Crow to see that justice is done. Howdy, I'm the guy with no name. Thanks for stopping by my channel. If you don't know, I love to talk about movies, TV shows, and some video games, and yeah, I'm trying to get to 200 subscribers right now. I'm about 10 away as of this video, so I would much appreciate you helping me out if you enjoy the video. And I can't promise you much, but in the immortal words of Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite, if you subscribe to me, all of your wildest dreams will come true. So back to the review. The Crow, like I mentioned earlier, ironically was in development hell for almost 2 decades, but ultimately ended up being directed by Rupert Sanders. Bill Skarsgård plays the main character, Eric, aka The Crow. British singer/dancer, FKA Twigs, plays Shelley, and Danny Huston plays the antagonist, Vincent Rogue. Now, usually I don't like to do this because I like to keep my reviews as fresh as possible, but I did take a peek at what some people were saying, kind of early reviews, and apparently I'm in the minority because I didn't think this movie was that bad. Yes, a lot of the complaints had to do with the beginning or even the first half being too long, and I tend to agree with that. I think it was a bit too long, but you know, it's a romance. It's a sappy romance complete with, you know, your usual narcotics usage and clubbing and stuff like that. No, but really, I did think at least to a certain degree it was needed because we need to care about the romance because that's the whole point of the story. Now, did I care about it as much as they wanted me to? Definitely not, but I will say I cared more about the relationship than your average romance in an action movie. The biggest problems I had with it were some of the acting being subpar. I thought Skarsgård did a great job overall, and by the way, his range continues to impress me. Just look at John Wick Chapter 4, It, and this one. But some of the other performances, like that of FKA Twigs, I found to be uneven. Also, the script was a bit clunky at times, and the story really didn't do a good job of explaining the rules of the Crow universe. I still really don't understand some of the vague supernatural elements that are introduced here and how they work. That being said, I'd be lying if I told you that I didn't have a good time at the end of the day. Once he becomes the Crow, I was locked in. And while there's not a lot of action sequences, the ones that are in there are very crazy and I enjoyed them quite a bit. They are very gory though, so fair warning if you're not into that. Also, the score, I thought, did what it was supposed to do. It makes you feel the emotions you're supposed to feel and really fit the tone and the setting of The Crow really well. I don't know. I mean, full disclosure, maybe part of my enjoyment is I went in with not much baggage and with low expectations. I had not read the Crow comics. I've not seen any of the other movies, even though I was familiar with the story. I knew what the Crow was and ultimately what it was about, but I didn't go in comparing it to something else, so maybe that's part of it. But I guess if you have read the comics or seen the movies, maybe if you're wanting to enjoy this movie, maybe your best bet is to try to check your expectations at the door and see what it gives you. So I would rate The Crow a 3.3 out of 5 stars in actuality, but in the interest of not convoluting my rating system, I'll bump it up to 3.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't a perfect movie. It's definitely not for everyone, and in fact, out of the negative reviews that I did read, I pretty much agreed with all the complaints. I guess for me, it didn't impact me as much, and I enjoyed a lot more of it than I didn't enjoy. So yeah, but let me know in the comments if you have seen The Crow or not. If you did, what did you think of it? Did you hate it? Did you love it? And I'd also love to know, what's your background with the franchise? Have you read any of the comics? Have you watched any of the movies? Do you recommend them? I do like to get to each and every comment. I love interacting with you guys. So also check out my review of Alien Romulus if you enjoyed this video. And until then, this is the guy with no name, signing off.